Today, I'm going to walk you through my experience taking and passing the GCP Associate Cloud Engineer qualification. I'm going to try and give you as much value as I can by talking you through my experience taking the exam, what I think you can learn from my experience. If I was to take the exam again, what would I do differently now I've taken and passed the exam? So without further ado, let's crack on to the next stage of the video. For reference, this is what your qualification will look like once you get certified and pass the exam. It normally takes within 5 working days for them to send you a proper certificate through to your email like this, but you can register as part, you could be registered on their registry, and then that way when employers or colleagues look you up, they will see you on this registry. But it is a very nice feeling when you do eventually get your exam, and this is what it will look like. A little bit more about me on the next one. Some other exams that I've taken and passed that are cloud related. I also have some security qualifications separately, but I've got my obviously GCP, which is why you're watching this video. I've also recently passed the Terraform Associate, which is really interesting. That's more of DevOps, writing code and deploying resources across different clouds, CCSK, Certificate of Cloud Security Knowledge, AWS, and Azure. I would say the hardest two probably were the Google Cloud Associate Engineer and the Terraform Associate, writing and deploying code. Really sought after exams though, so definitely worth investing your time into passing these qualifications. Contents of the video, and we'll go over this. So an overview of GCP Ace, which we've touched on a little bit, how I studied for the exam and the free tier account. I think that's going to be your biggest key to helping you pass the exam. The study materials that I used, hints and tips for taking and passing the exam, and then a little bit of an overview of the exam itself. So little overview of the exam. So if you go onto Google and type in GCP Ace, it will bring you to a page like this. At an overview, what they will be testing you on the exam is, are you able to set up a solution environment, deploying and implementing cloud solutions, configuring access and security, plan and configure cloud solutions, and ensure a successful operation of a cloud solution as well. So they do test you on all parts of it, configuring, deploying, and they ask you information as well, or questions on how you deploy stuff through the CLI, which is the command line interface. So we'll talk through that in a little bit more detail through the video. The biggest key that I think you'll have in your arsenal to helping you pass the exam is the GCP free tier account. So at the time of making this video, I think you get US dollar of $300 worth of credits that you can spend. I had my account open for I think between 6 to 8 weeks while I was practicing and deploying resource. I didn't get anywhere near that. A big hint from me would be make sure that you delete any resource that you create at the end of the day or at the end of the week. Whenever you've finished each time, I would definitely recommend make sure you delete all of your resource so you don't get used to that. You don't get close to that $300 worth of free credits. Something to keep an eye on. Another hint and tip that I really found useful for me was I started practicing deploying resource while doing follow-alongs to YouTube videos. I'm going to talk you through the content that I purchased to study, but the biggest thing for me was creating a free account, doing follow-alongs and deploying resource, getting hands-on experience. They do test you on things like being able to, as an example, let's say there's a load balancer, and they'll say, you know, this is the business need, how would you deploy this resource and which resource would you deploy? So for example, in that question they're asking you which is the right load balancer to deploy for that use case or business use case, and then they also ask you, for example, well, how would you deploy that? Where would you go? Would you click here, here, or there? Or they'll say, how would you deploy that in CLI? And they'll give you a couple of different options to choose from. Some of them are worded very, very closely, so just make sure you pay good attention to the detail. But yeah, my biggest thing for you to take away from this video: get hands-on experience, create a free account, and just get used to practicing deploying resource. The study material that I used for the exam on Udemy, I purchased someone's course called Ranga. This is what the course looks like here. It was very, very useful. I had no experience with GCP before purchasing this course. One thing I would say is definitely keep your eyes out on regular sales that they have. I think I managed to purchase this course for like £30. That was quite some time ago, but they do regularly have sales on. So I think the last time I looked the other day, I think it was like £50 or £60, and that would be different depending on where you are in the world, in USD or Euro. But yeah, they definitely have regular sales. If they don't have something straight away, revisit within a week or a couple of weeks, and they normally have some sort of sale on. So keep your eyes out for that. Overall view of the course, each video I would say on average is between 3 to 5 minutes long. That's super useful. They're not too long that you can't concentrate, and they're quite short to the point, which I found useful. Occasionally some of them will be a bit longer, maybe 8 to 10 minutes, but they're very infrequent. But overall I would highly recommend Ranga's course. It gives you everything you need from start to finish to take and pass the exam. The only thing that I purchased in addition to this was practice exams and past papers, which we'll comment to on the next slide. But yeah, anything else to add on this would be, this is the one course that I purchased, and it covered everything that I needed. Practice exams. Now, if you go onto Udemy, again, they're not any sponsors of this video in any shape or form, but this is the course that I purchased. So there was 5 practice exams, each one has 50 questions, there were 250 in total. These were really helpful. Now, some questions that came up in these practice exams actually came up in the real life exam, so I would definitely recommend that you purchase these, whether it's from this company or another one, it's your choice, but I found that some exam questions that came up in real life actually came up in these practice tests. So definitely get familiar. They are also really good because they tell you if you have failed an exam or a question, they tell you why and they give you the rationale, so it makes it a lot easier to learn and study. So I would definitely recommend these practice exams.